you have a really cool story. You've been done a little bit of everything. So I just want to kind of spotlight some of that stuff. So what originally got you on this path, like into Muay Thai?
Well, right now, the guy doing the MMA at my gym right now, Yves Edwards, I was doing amateur boxing and I met him. And actually, I met some kid in my high school who was wearing a Thug Jitsu shirt. And he had like a picture of Eve like punching somebody in the face. And I was like, what is that, man? And he's telling me about it. And I didn't realize that Eve had opened up a school probably like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes from
Holy
where I
shit,
was. And I
that's
was like,
crazy.
what the hell? How do I not know about this? And that was back when like, MMA was, you know, it was there, but it wasn't out like as mainstream as it is now. And from there, I got introduced to all the different martial arts, jujitsu, Muay Thai, all that stuff. Because I was just doing amateur boxing, and Muay Thai obviously took my interest more. And I liked boxing and Muay Thai, and I bounced around from both of those, but mostly Muay Thai. But
Yeah.
there's just something about Muay Thai, the cultural aspects, the
Mm.
respect, and then just the full on. You can use everything, all the weapons. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Not at all. I honestly think that people talk about, and this might be a hot take, but people talk about, what's best for like self defense and stuff like that. For me, I try to tell people a lot of times that really separates Muay Thai from everything is like you have this like menu almost that becomes like really like a basic understanding of like, okay, like open a menu up, you have your appetizers, then you have your entrees, then you have your dessert. And like I explain that to the students all the time. I'm like, that's kind of how Muay Thai is. Like from this distance I have my appetizers, from this distance I have my
Mm,
entrees, and then in here I have my dessert. And your brain just, you
yeah,
know where you're at in the
exactly.
menu based off how far away you are, so it helps you think faster. Just that's always been
Yeah,
my
I'm
point of
with
view
that.
on it.
I have something like that with the zones.
Mm.
I don't put it with food, but I
Yeah,
like that.
I'm
That's a
fat,
good
man. I
idea.
like food.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's cool. Well, I was gonna when you're talking about the martial arts, um, you know, I'll I'm in my last year as president, right? Everybody wants me to run one more time. I don't know,
Yes.
but I think it's time for some new faces. So I'm gonna be a little more open about some things, and
Okay.
you
Talk some
know,
shit.
yeah, talk a little shit. So I think a lot of people these days, when you're talking about food and talking about martial arts and talking about self-defense, I feel like today, there's great jujitsu schools and there's some that are more sport. There's great Muay
Hmm.
Thai schools and there's some that are in like this mysticism where they're doing all this stuff that's so dangerous and all that stuff. And people research where they're going to eat more than they research martial arts these days. Like they
Yeah,
just,
that's
if
true.
you're a gym owner, they call you on the phone and they just like, so do y'all have people that compete? Like, brother, have you been to our Instagram?
Right.
Have you looked at our website?
Do
Like,
you have internet?
but you'll be on Yelp looking through all the menu items at the local Italian restaurant. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
a good point.
So
Yeah.
I, for real, like people don't research these days, and hey, everybody's in that fast mode, So it's all right. I think there's always going to be people doing like the fast food style of martial arts, and then there's going to be
Mhm.
the quality martial arts. See, I'm staying on the food like you like.
Yeah, there you go. No, you got my attention for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a smart. I know it is weird, and like I think that's also I think why it's hard for like when once you've been a gym owner and a coach and stuff for a long time, like you got to have a front desk person, because sometimes like those questions and those things, you're just like it's hard to like not show on your face. You
Yeah.
want to be like, motherfucker, like, are
Yeah.
you not looking around? Is there not like a
Um,
row of
and
belts
I'm not
behind
like
us?
it's
Like,
not like I want to. My thing is like I'm not in the business of teaching fighters. I'm in the business of teaching what I teach,
mm,
and whether you compete or not, which like 80% of the gym doesn't compete,
yeah.
you're gonna get the skills and knowledge as what I would give to the fighter. You know what I mean? So it's not like I take away techniques or things like that, if that makes sense.
No,
Like
absolutely.
it
I
is.
literally just right before I was trying to hurry up and scramble and get an Instagram post out, and I touched on that. Trying to be on my advertisement stuff right now early in the year. And always, I always try to remind people with all our stuff with boxing and Muay Thai, that exact percentage you use, the 80%, like most people aren't going to compete. And I think the good gyms train everyone as if they will, because, you never know. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes some of the best competitors end up being the people that just came in to do it for fun, and they don't have
Yeah.
those weird expectations of themselves where like, I'm gonna UFC one day, and you're like, relax, like let's just learn how to move our feet real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Uh, so I need you had you started off as a fighter before you were a gym owner and stuff like that. Like, what made you transition from fighting to coaching?
Uh, it wasn't really well thought out, I guess you could say. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
do it. I always knew I wanted to coach and do that, but I think the problem was not fully quitting one and going all in on the other. I think I've
Mm-hmm.
said that all the time. I always tell people, and there are successful coaches out there that can juggle both. But like, you know, for me, if I have a bunch of fighters or a bunch of classes that I'm teaching, how can I be fully invested in all those things and still be fully invested in myself as a fighter?
Yeah.
So there was, I think, like 2 years, maybe a year, and I don't know, where when I opened the gym, I was still competing in some high level fights that was just that was really dumb. There was actually a couple. There was a time where I had four people on an undercard, legacy kickboxing,
I was at that
and,
one. Yeah.
and like me
I
and
think
Bob were training the guys, and then I was fighting on the card too. And at the end of the night, I'm sitting there like, damn, I'm tired.
tired. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we both teach class, and then we train in fighters, and then I'm training. Like, oh man, that was stupid. And there's those life lessons. I
Yeah.
learned the hard way on that one, that's for sure.
Yeah. That's hard.
But I mean, I always wanted to. I would just, if I was to give advice to anyone on anything, be all in on it, right?
yeah.
You want to be
Yep.
all in on a coach, gym owner, you got to go all in on it. So, that would be, that was a couple of mistakes I've made with that.
Yeah. No. And I think that's like, I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but in our area, I see it a lot, and like everyone like after like 6 months to a year, like they want to hold pads for people and like start like, oh, I'm teaching over here and this and that. Like, exactly what you're saying. Like, and I've had people hit me up and like ask me for advice and stuff, and I'm like, don't do it. I'm like, don't become a coach, because I'm like, if you are like, if you have two amateur fights, first of all, like it's it's not fair to the people that you're gonna, people are gonna put their like health and life in your hands, thinking that
Mm.
you know what you're doing, and that's not fair to them. And I'm like, second of all, it's not fair to yourself either too, because you're just getting started. And I think a lot of times people have this idea that like, oh, well, if I'm coaching, I can like train full time, and it's like you rarely see that. I feel like most of the time guys will like quit their job and start coaching full time, and I feel like their training a lot of times drops off because they have more time on their hands. Like, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll do 3 days tomorrow and I'll just skip today, and then you just see people fall off. Or
I've had a mixed bag with what you're saying. Some
yeah.
people I've told, this isn't working out. You should probably, we all call in the fight business, go get a real job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you gotta go get one of those real jobs. And a couple people, it made them better because they started creating a schedule and
Yes.
forced me to stay on track. Whereas, like what you were saying, like if you give somebody too much time, they do two or three privates in the morning, then they got a bunch of time in the afternoon, then they start missing things or doing, some people it's good, like I said,
Some people's
some
good. Yep.
people it's bad. It goes both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, you put them in a real job, they don't want to get up early and stay late,
Yeah.
so everybody's different, but
Yeah.
definitely, if I could, if you're going to do it, you got to do it, like I said, all in, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So if you're just coming in and teaching like a couple classes a week, and you're scattering around privates and basing that being you're going to be always in that Muay Thai hustle.
Mm,
And what I would recommend is, probably your school owner or somebody, you got to start seeking and getting some mentorship. Like from when I opened my gym, I started talking to successful gym owners, and
mm,
some of them have really, I've still talking to them now for, I celebrated my 10-year anniversary, I think last year. And some of these coaches and gym owners I've talked to since then, like from day one to still now 10 years. And you gotta you got to find those type of people, because if you're just, what happens when the hustle ends and you're not fighting no more and you were just holding
mm-hmm.
pads? Now you don't have no business sense. Now you don't have any marketing sense, where you could get all of that from gym owner. And if your gym owner's not
Absolutely.
doing that, well, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. You better go find somebody.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I try to get it into my guys' heads, and like Gary is obviously like he's my best guy. He has a full-time job. He works for the school district here. He gets paid pretty well. He has benefits and stuff like that. And I've always I've always been more of I'm like, man, keep your job, like don't, because I'm like, once you start doing this for money, like way too early, like it's gonna usually it'll get fucked up. Unless you just have like a sugar mama, or you come from like a wealthy family or something. We're not
It's a
really in
hustle.
that type of area. So I'm like, you don't want to have to make decisions and take fights for $500 that because in that $500 never does anything anyway, between medicals and all the other stuff, whatever the money is. It doesn't really work out that way. So
Yeah.
uh I, it doesn't necessarily take a ton of the stress out of the situation, but I feel like it does help with just not feeling like you have to make a decision for a little bit of money.
Uh,
So yeah, I'm the same, and I also try to preach to them. I'm like, man, whatever you do, like I have one of my guys, I'm kind of like trying to make into like my intern, this guy Say, doing video, like I'm teaching him how to edit, and he already kind of likes film and stuff. So I'm like, bro, you can make a lot of money as a videographer. And I'm
oh
like,
yeah.
we can get some stuff going now. So I'm like, and then you use this, like build your name up as a fighter slash videographer, and get your business going and stuff like that. And then people want to hire you later because you're this Muay Thai champion or whatever.
Yeah.
Even as an amateur, you can do you can get your name out there a little bit. I mean, I see guys with Instagram followings that get sponsored and shit that like, are fighting tomato cans and don't do anything important, but it's like they got their hustle, and they might be able to live off that for a long time. So I'm like, this should be, you got to be exactly like you
Got to
said, like mentally you
diversify
got
your
to be all in,
portfolio.
but there's got to be another plan afterwards, because you
Yeah.
can't fight forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, talking about, and it's funny because I know you're talking about influences, which I was going to ask you about also, and I also don't want to gloss over, because for some of the people who are a little bit newer to the game, Yves Edwards is the fucking legend, bro. So like, like for me, I'm sitting here like, holy shit, I can't believe he's in the other room right now. That's so cool. When I was coming up as just like a big MMA fan, there was a time in the UFC where they didn't even have 155 for a little while, and he was like everyone always said like he's like the uncrowned king of that division, and he was, and he should have been. And I feel like if that division had been around during that time, he would have been an even bigger name at that time. But for those that know, like he's the guy. So
Yeah, it was awesome.
obviously he was one of your big influences coming up, getting started.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was cool. I got to travel around with him for um, several fights. I got to go to Pride Bushido in
Oh
Japan. That was
shit,
that
that's
was so cool.
crazy.
Um, I was there at UFC 49 when he did the head kick on Josh Thompson. That was cool.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, he was a. I mean, times changed. I mean, there was a time period where we didn't see each other for, I don't even know, 5, 6, maybe longer years.
Yeah.
After he had moved and went to like ATT, American Top Team, and then he moved out to LA. He was doing some like stunt work slash training out there slash I don't know, and he was always when I knew him before all that. I mean, he was always very professional, and everybody respected him. He wasn't
Mhm.
like out, you know. He was a very good example, I guess you could say, as a martial
Mhm.
artist slash fighter, and his skills spoke for themselves. So
Yeah.
I got to look up to a guy in the game at that time that was really at the top of his game. And when you get, how lucky was I? I was like 16
Yeah.
years old.
It's
A lot of
huge.
people go to a gym and they find out that some people peak out at a gym and it's like, dude, I got to go somewhere else.
Mhm.
I got to go to a place where the number one UFC fighter was at one time, and that was like
Yeah.
one of my first stops into martial arts. So
Yeah.
like I was really lucky in that sense. I think that goes in every uh, gym or for any martial arts. Like some places you can only go so far at, and it may
Mhm.
not be, it's not disrespect, but it's like, hey, I got to go to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I got to go
Yeah.
right into some cool stuff. And the coolest thing is that he knew that I liked Muay Thai, and he recommended me to go see Saxon in Dallas,
Okay.
Saxon Janjira. So I was like, I got to go from top MMA to like one
Yeah.
of the best high, coaches in America, So I was like, man, I'm lucky.
Yeah. Well, and it's cool because, yeah, like you said, you can see obviously now, like if you're just looking at everything, like how it kind of guided your trajectory because you did some big stuff in the sport. I think you were fighting during my favorite time of USA Muay Thai. I kind of dub it this golden era of USA Muay Thai. I think we talked a little bit about it. I'm trying to get together a documentary, and I think that's one of the things I'm gonna try to do with this too is talk to a bunch of the people from that time, that lion fight. Glory coming to USA.
Mm,
The couple of shows with Legacy, that was such an exciting, just
yeah,
the man, that was such an exciting thing. And I know UFC snatched up Mick, and that did what that did or whatever. But that was cool as shit, though. That was like so
yeah.
exciting. I
There was a
thought,
lot of the and a lot of people that were fighting in Thailand during that era where if you saw them fighting, they um, had to climb up the ranks to get where they were. So like what
mm-hmm,
you're saying in USA, there was like a really good era.
mm-hmm,
I think it was like M1. You had like
yeah,
uh, um, Romy, Adonza. You had Joe Schilling,
mm-hmm,
Kevin Ross, all those guys. Chaz Mulkey.
Jazz, yeah,
And then you had
Kai, and
yeah, Kai, and then you had people in Thailand that there wasn't very many, if any, Americans doing stuff, and if they were, they had to earn that spot up there.
yeah,
And
Dorian,
Dorian, I seen Cyrus, and when I
mm-hmm,
saw Kevin Ross fighting the Toyota Cup, I can't remember if he was before Cyrus. I don't remember, but I was working at Fairtex in Thailand at the time, and I remember watching it on TV, and I know Kevin at that time was really wanting to fight Sanchai, and I think he won his first fight, lost the semifinal, then he would
mm-hmm,
have got to fight Sancho. But he ended up fighting him later on in the career. But just
yeah,
seeing the Toyota Cup in Thailand was like a super cool thing. Is like 8 men they go in and pull your name out of a hat. An 8-man one day tournament. It's like the K1 Grand Prix of like Muay
yeah.
Thai, right?
I love
And
that shit.
and
Yeah,
when I saw Cyrus do it, I can't remember who was first, but when I saw those guys do it, I was like dead set on I have to do that. And
yeah,
lucky enough, I got to do that, so that was cool. And
yeah. No, you're definitely I mean, you're a manifester for sure. Just 'cause I obviously kind of briefly crossed paths like between like legacy and stuff like that. I'm just knew what was going on the scene. And it would seeing your name on the posters and stuff like that on shows we wanted to be on. So obviously had already been following you, and then just finally getting to link up with you on the team back in 2017, and I've seen what you've done with everything, with between the gym and obviously the teams, and I mean what the U.S. Muay Thai scene has accomplished since you've been president is astronomical. So,
Thank you.
I always give you your flowers any chance I get,
Oh,
and
I
and
appreciate it.
I hope everybody does because you deserve it, brother. And
I appreciate it.
I'm definitely on the list of people who hope that you stay, and I understand why, you wouldn't if you did decide to go because it's a fucking hard job. I
No,
don't
I
envy
mean,
you.
I might be, not in a presidential role, but I'll still be involved. I think my seat is up for IFMA board this year as well. So I may try to rerun for that, but I'll still
Yeah,
be involved with USA Muay Thai. Like I love coaching, number one. That's my favorite of everything of all this sport.
yeah,
And if I could get more time into that, that would be great. If I,
yeah. I
you
bet.
know,
I bet.
I don't want to do the whole conflict of interest thing. I don't corner my athletes at
Mhm.
nationals. I don't corner my athletes at IFMA. Um, so I want to be back coaching my,
Yeah.
those
No, I
guys
can
that get
understand
out
that.
there. That to me is, I mean, I'm still part of the team as the president and whatnot, but
Yeah.
being there and, taking a fighter through a fight camp, taking them through a national tournament, taking them through a world tournament, that's, I mean, that's pretty damn cool. That's where I want to
Brother,
be
trust me, I
next year.
understand. I am a broke, scrambling around trying to just survive, all based off my addiction to exactly what you just mentioned.
Yeah,
So, and I would, as much as I, obviously, as much as selfishly want to see you stay president, for America, I would love to see you back in, behind those reins too. So we need
I
you
feel
too
like,
on
man,
there.
I've been here. I did a lot of cool things in 8 years, but hold on one second. Eve,
Yeah, go for it.
come on real quick. Eve, just say what's up.
Oh
Hello.
shit.
How's it going?
Brother, huge fan. Thank
I
you, thank you,
appreciate
thank you. Man, you just made my whole year already, brother. Thank
it.
you.
My man. Let's go. Let's All go.
Thank you. Good to meet you, brother. Oh shit. Big exclusive right there. I need the little air horn.
Yeah. Uh, no, but to be honest, man, at 8 years we've done a lot of cool stuff. Like that might be the next book. There's so
Yes.
much stuff that people don't know that. I mean, we're recognized by the U.S. Olympic Committee now. We've had ups and downs. We've had people come and go. We've had some people stay with us from the jump, and
Hmm.
so many cool stories. We've seen athletes rise like you've never seen before, go be world champions,
Yeah.
their experiences. So it's cool. I think there needs to be some fresh eyes and fresh everything. I'm uh I'm a person that's always seeking knowledge. Like I said, I as a martial artist, I went to Japan this year to link up with my old instructor from when I met him in Thailand. Um, I have business people I go and you know pay into to learn from. I'm always
Yeah.
learning. I love learning, but when it comes to Muay Thai, I feel like in some things maybe I'm kind of stuck. Maybe not stuck, but like I'm hard headed in some stuff because at the end of the day, a fight is a fight,
Hmm.
right? And you got to prepare for a fight. You got to be well. Um, you don't need to have worries and all that kind of stuff, going into fight. And there's a lot of stuff that maybe I achieved every single goal I wanted to do as president except one. We were able to do it at the World Games in 2022 was fund the teams. Now,
Yeah.
we did that at World Games. We've been able to put money towards certain things for athletes, but ideally, that's where I would obviously be. I guarantee you it'd be just like 2022, where you'd have all the superstars out fighting if they were funded.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because even the U.S. Olympians are not funded. They gotta, they get sponsors and stuff like that. But um, that's what it is. And maybe new eyes need to come in on that. Maybe a whole different teams. We got a lot of new people. We got a new board. I think was it 2 years ago.
Mm.
We got a lot of new eyes in there. I think people like Lonnie,
Yeah.
he'd be a great, to come in. That's who I'm endorsing. if you,
Yeah.
but
No,
like people
Lonnie's the
like
man.
him, and he's got a lot of network of people that he could bring in, and we can all still work together and see what happens. I just think it's maybe some fresh ideas, fresh look, change up some things. Maybe they go good, maybe they go bad, but hey, I'll still be there,
Yeah.
coach or whatnot, because at the end of the day, no matter where I go, this is the best path as a U.S. athlete to get experience, good experience, and build your career. There's a lot of stuff out there now, a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so many different pathways now. But if like, there's a blueprint out there. Look
Mm-hmm.
at it. Look at the path. And I don't understand as a coach why you don't want to take your athlete down that path. So no matter where I go, I'm always going to take my athletes to IFMA events. That's how you're going to get. I mean, where else are you going to fight super bonds and Yodwichas and Kulabins and all these
Yeah.
different. Look where these people are, and look where our U.S. athletes have done it. Janet, Tierra, Aaron
Mm-hmm.
Ortiz, Troy Jones. All these people have once or fought for world titles. Uh, some of them have been world champions. So no matter where I go in this game, I'm gonna still take my athletes to the best opportunities. So, coach, where we at, man? Tell these guys,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. No, I
if the
and
path is easy, it ain't the right path. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
if I look at this bracket, I can go over here and fly overseas and fight somebody in a bowling alley and become a world champion, and it's a world tournament. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like it's a world tournament. Ain't nobody in your division. You know, but
Yeah. It
that's just
frustrates
what it
me,
is.
man. You seen me, I rant and you know me personally, I feel like I'm a pretty chill guy for the most part, but I'll sometimes lose my shit uh on the game just because I feel like so much of this, like you said, like it's out there. It's not rocket science to figure out like if you really want to get good. And I think the thing that kills me exactly what you're talking about, where people are looking for a easier path and just want like so many people will say like my guy's the best, and I'm like, well, what did they win? Or like, oh, they're a two-time such and such champion at like some regional show, and I'm like, yeah, nobody cares about that. Like
Yeah,
respectfully, like if they are the best, like put them in the tournament. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And
and
I get some things are not. Some people are not tournament fighters, as you could
yeah,
say. But I mean, everything nowadays is about adjustments.
mm-hmm,
So I'll give you an example. It's like, if my guy's not a good tournament fighter, is he going to be a good one fighter? That's an
yeah,
adjustment. That's a major adjustment. Small
mm-hmm,
gloves, the incentivizing of knockouts, stoppages, 3 rounds only. Like everything nowadays is an adjustment.
mm-hmm,
RWS, that's an adjustment.
yep,
So if you say that, oh, I'm not, this is not my style, this is not, so what is your style? Because at the end of the day, if you want to make it at the big time, what is the big time right now? Fighting in the stadium traditionally,
mm-hmm,
or fighting in RWS. Those, or there are some international world championship fights as well in traditional Muay Thai as well. But
yeah,
in all of this stuff, all these different styles, all these things, you're gonna have to make adjustments. So I'm not a tournament fighter. I'm not that. Okay, great. So how are you gonna get your experience then? You either go to Thailand,
mm-hmm,
or you're gonna need to sprinkle in some of these tournaments. I'm sorry,
yeah,
that's like, we get back a lot of stuff in life. You can get back money, you can get back stuff, but you don't get back time. And if you're
mm-hmm,
sitting here fighting 2 or 3 times a year in the peak of your life, uh, you're not going to make it, one, financially, two, experience wise. So, uh, how are you going to do it? I mean, I've seen guys um, make the team, fight a tough bracket, get 3 fights, go to a tournament at the world tournament, get 3 fights. Later on that year, maybe go to a Pan American tournament, go to an open tournament, go to this, then maybe get invited on a couple fight nights abroad or in the USA. All of a sudden, they got 12 fights in the year,
mm-hmm,
and two versus 2 fights locally, regionally. You got to sacrifice I'm all over the place rambling, but you get the point.
No, you're right on track. You're exactly what I was
You know,
yeah.
it's just like you hear coaches say that this is not my thing or that's not my thing. Well, what is your thing?
Yeah.
That's where the sport is right now. If you want to make it to the top, there's one RWS, there's stadiums in Thailand, and there's all the ABC, WMC, WWW, all those world titles and whatnot. But if you're
Yeah.
doing just those nationally, be honest with yourself, you're probably only going to fight 2 or 3 times a year, max.
If you're lucky, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're either not scary enough for people to take fights with you, and then it's like, if you are that, then you might get knocked
There's
out. Like
no
you're not that guy. Or you're somebody who is scary, and people are so picky and choosy these days that you might just sit around and not fight
I mean,
because
I
of
gotta
that.
give a shout out to those guys that come out and they're not, it's, you know, uh, I think Chip Pollard is like one of the best US
Mm-hmm.
fighters. Probably he's like a first ballot Hall of Famer in USA
100%.
Muay Thai for the US. He fought at the Nationals and he lost to Aaron. He was coming back from an injury. I think he won
Yep.
his first fight or second fight, then fought Aaron in the finals. Man, it was an awesome fight. Like
Awesome fight.
super technical, super good looking Muay Thai. I mean, nobody said anything about that. And here he goes, he's winning titles right out of there.
Yep.
Like it's a all the guys, man. Shout out to all the top pros. Eddie Abasalo,
Mm-hmm.
Luke. He did the World Games thing, the qualifier. Tons of great athletes. It's knock off 4 fights in a weekend versus top guys is a great experience. But hell, it ain't easy. It's tough. So nothing.
Yeah. What are
You
you
could.
in it
It's
for
tough.
though? That's I think that's the thing that I think if you just want a poster and some Instagram likes and stuff like this, like you can definitely get that here. It's just I
I'll tell
think
you
where I
this,
get
man. Like
frustrated
that's
is those
why I feel
people
like I'm
can't
kind
things
of
up.
need to. I gotta like. To me, this stuff is like a dream. What I would have been as an athlete. It's what I'd like.
Absolutely.
I'm in the guys at my gym. I'm like, are you kidding me? We gotta go. Like
Yeah.
they want to do this, they want to do that. I'm like, this is the path. We got a guy that was on the French national team for Savat, and so he's really
Oh
knows
shit.
like the powers of like being on a national team and how much
Yeah.
experience that gets you. So he's always about it too. He's like, no, no, no. They either go
Yeah.
Wacko or they go Ifma. He's like,
Yeah.
you got to get
Yeah.
him these right. And I'm like, yeah. And so, I mean, we throw people in Wacko tournaments.
Yep.
Ifma, I know it's awesome. It's just not the glam, like some of these shows they do a great show. They're
Yeah.
awesome. Shout out to them. But and you should sprinkle in those shows if you get those opportunities, but you got to make
Right.
make the tournaments, man. Make the
Yeah.
tournaments, get the experience, go do the
I
damn thing.
I think I so my because this is the thing that so we're a tournament team. I mean, that's for me. Like my ultimate goal for my fighters is to eventually, like right now, one is the big show RWS. Like my goal is to get people there. So, and I've fortunately been able to come with you guys to IFMA and stuff like that. Been to Waco World Championships as well too, so I know what those high levels look like. We fought in Glory and Lion Fight when those were going on here, so I've seen it and I know like where we need to be, and I understand that like the big thing is as many fights as possible, staying active and but also like there are the guys that are 20 plus amateur fights, but they're like picking like, and they have shows that are kind of behind them. They sell a lot of tickets and they're bringing these guys in from out of town, which is a small secret to our success too, because I'll throw my guy with 7 fights in there with somebody who has 20 something, and it's like sometimes you think you're setting this up, but I know that guy's been taking easy fights, and
Yeah,
my guys has like 6 of those fights were in one day at WKA or something. He's a gangster, like he's gonna
yeah,
be all right. But I think one of the things that's really frustrating for me, and I for the like the coaches like Danny and like the other ones that are trying to like hit all these things. Like we everyone knew when Grand Nationals was like last year. I feel like that date's been out there. We knew for sure March. And then what sucks is like you got all these other tournaments, everyone kind of dropped in. Like there's three in February. And it's like, man, like I
We just
feel
found
like
out there's
some
three in March. There's some actually on our same date, but you know,
and this is the thing. It's like I for me, this is the biggest thing holding our sport back right now is the amount of people that are trying to like cut each other's throats, and it's like you don't it's like the common sense is not there, that like you're not like, okay, maybe you are hurting the other tournament, but you are hurting yourself too. It's like every
yeah,
time you stab them, you're stabbing yourself, and it's like they don't realize it. And then on top of it, they're hurting us, because it's like, okay, so if all those tournaments are spread out throughout the year, and I can take, my guys that are able to that are healthy, if we can do 4 or 5 tournaments, including like an IFMA or a WACA World Championship or a Pan Am's or something like that too, like now we're talking 15 to 20 fights a year possibly,
yeah,
as opposed to like maybe 3. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's like 2 or 3 years of that, I feel like, is how we get prepared to actually win an IFMA and maybe
yeah.
be,
I
but it's
agree.
like instead everyone, they all want to be on top of each other to like, it feels like to fuck each other over, because I can't understand like what would be the, because the brackets for each tournament are not going to be bigger if they're right on top of each other too.
No, no. There's one in New York, I think, end of March, and then
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
an
Yep.
IKF one
Yeah.
in the same weekend as ours in like the Carolinas, I believe. And then there's some in February, like at the end of February, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Uh, is at the end of the day, man, that's just business. You know, people open up martial arts schools right across the street from each other,
Yeah.
and the products got to speak for themselves. You deliver good product, people are going to keep coming back to it. I know some of these we got to follow some of the highest standards for the highest standards, with medicals that we have to do for our tournament for every athlete. We bring in the best officials. We don't, you know, we lose a little bit of money on that. We bring in the best officials,
Yeah.
for our events. The doctors, every ring having a doctor, all that stuff. There are tournaments that do it right, and there are some tournaments that are just trying to, you know, get through it. But I always tell people, where does this take you? Where does this path take you? Who's, you know, there's a lot of USA teams out there, but I mean, this is the
Mm.
one that's the
Yeah.
the one that's by the U.S. Olympic Committee is the USA team, and when you're going up against government funded teams from Kazakhstan, Belarus, Russia, Thailand's real team.
Yeah.
Um, it's that's the tournament. Those are the things. So Wacko for kickboxing, um, IFMA for Muay Thai. Are there other ones that are pretty good? Yes. Are there some that are not so good? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not taking. If you take me out as a president right now, like I said, I'm taking my guys to where the most elite competition is. Like
Hmm.
period. And if my guys lose, we go back to the drawing board, we work hard, and we come back. And that's what you do. That's the true test of a fighter, martial artist is taking on the best. And if my guy goes out there and schools somebody at a whatever world tournament, he comes back and he's getting pummeled by the regional scene. There's something off about that tournament
Yeah.
that I went to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Uh, yeah. So I don't know. There's all those things, a lot of them, they unite, they put a bunch of stuff together, and good for them. I hope it enhances and makes the level of their event good. But you know the like you said, you gotta it's it only betters their chance of getting more people if they just adjust the dates. I would never do anything near the TBA,
Right.
obviously, right? You would not,
Right.
even if they don't, if for some reason the you know not as many elites go there or something, it's still the teams that are going there. Like it's just
Yeah.
you don't mess with the TBA. That's a big tournament, right? It's the biggest
Yeah.
in North America, but they've said their dates for 5 years out, right? Then you got us. We've been doing the same one for give or take 1 week. We moved it by 1 week, but again, it's all about the path. Where does this take you, and where do you want to go? If you want to be a world champion and fight at some, you know, I don't know, at a racquetball court in some country, that's cool. You want to fight in a world tournament where you're fighting some of the best in the world, all names, all people that fight on one championship, RWS, you're gonna want to go to Waco or IFMA.
100%.
But
Yeah.
again, it's again, let's be real. There's just some people that are not they're not really feeling that path.
Yeah.
And some of us, hey, that's the whole thing, man. I went to IFMA 2008. I lost a close fight. I was motivated by it. I was motivated by it. Some people, oh, I thought you won. I don't care.
Right.
I
Yeah.
didn't win. Next year, that was when they first separated into. Well, no, they did, but there was a class, and I think we had not America hadn't had an A class guy. I jumped into A class because there was a misunderstanding with a weight division. I went to A class. I fought this guy from Morocco that had fought a lot in the Netherlands and whatnot, getting a lot of experience. I lost to him. I like did really awesome in the first round, flying knees, boxing him up, and then I like lost the next three. That was when they did 4 round for A class, and all I did was motivate me. And I see some guys they go to these things and they lose, and it's like it deflates them, and they're like, you know what, I'm not. And then some of them have become coaches, and then they know that that's the path. Like I didn't do so well there. I should take my athletes there. I want to get, but they don't. They go on a different path. Like that's
Yeah.
where I feel like I'm disconnected with some people. Like, why would you not go that way? Like when I lost, I'm like, I'm gonna get that back. I may not
Yeah.
get that back with that guy, but I'm getting it back for just myself. I'm going back.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna do better. And I mean, that's what makes uh to me good coaches, good athletes is hey, you bounce back from the loss. What did I learn from it? What am I going to do with it? This isn't going to define me, this loss. So, damn,
Yeah.
another.
It's tough, man. And
Because
yeah, like you
I've
said,
seen guys that come to the nationals. They get a bad matchup. They going up against somebody that's got they're new,
mhm,
like on that real scene, and they lose, but they look good. I'm like, dude, come back next year. You're still young.
right. Right.
Then they say, all right, well, I'm gonna go do this, but
Yeah.
it's
No,
all
I
good.
think I think yeah, because like I remember even when before we had the tournament and you guys had to just do your best to like find the best people to go, and I think at the time, like the sentiment in the sport, like everybody like wanted, to like get the tracksuit and be on the team
Yeah,
and then kind of I think sometimes people forgot that like, well, but you also have to like fight the best people in the world
yeah,
too, and you get there, so you got to be prepared for that and understand that you might lose your first fight there. You know
yeah.
what I mean? There's a great
I
chance that you will, you know?
it's really funny that I saw this some people were saying stuff like a tournament doesn't necessarily define who the best in the country is. Uh, it does that day,
Yeah. I
for
was
that
gonna say,
style,
yeah.
and then that's the best way that we can do it right now until we get
Hmm.
regionals, and that's difficult with state
Right.
athletic commissions. Some don't allow tournaments, don't allow, I mean a lot don't allow tournaments. I was just recently in the unified ABC committee, with the rules committee for amateur and pro. It blew my mind how many states don't allow a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
having all these places hold tournaments is a little difficult, but some
Yeah.
people are making some ground with that. Shout out to them. But a tournament for us, a national qualifier, is first It has to be. That's just part of the bylaws for USOPC for us to be in there. We have to have it. And
Yeah,
for me, ever since we've had qualifiers, we've had better teams.
I agree. Well,
So
yeah, it's obvious. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's
The
doing pretty
results
good. And
speak for themselves. Yeah.
but to say that a national tournament doesn't, no, but what it does is that it shows guys that can make weight every day.
Mm-hmm.
It shows guys that are going to weigh in, fight hours later. It shows, that you're taking on the best of that weekend. Yeah, it shows a lot. Whereas the ones where you just send in an email, we did that too. But
Yeah.
this is what we have to do, and it does help. And again, if you don't think a tournament proves anything, what are you sending an email in to be? You're
Right.
being on a team to go fight in a tournament. So
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, whoever's saying that, you're a dumbass. I don't know. That again, that's what frustrates me is like if you're there's so many people that'll like they'll stand on it. I've never said anybody from my team is the best. I after they've won a bunch of stuff, I've said they're one of the best. But there are people out there that'll literally stand on this person from my gym is the best. And I'm like, man, that's awesome. I'm like, you should bring them to the tournament, or I would like for my person who I think's pretty good to fight him so we could see how we match up against the best. And you see a lot of those people that make those claims are not at the tournament, so it's like, why not? Like, let's find out. So, in my opinion, that's the best way to find out
Yeah,
is
I don't
everyone
know.
go to
Maybe
one
we should do
tournament and
better
fight each
though.
other. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Is
really
it,
weird.
I can't, we can't get, I don't, it's, you just get a little like, man, I don't agree with that, but I can't get mad anymore, right? Everybody has
Yeah.
their own path. Everybody has their own preference. You have people that like a coach that tells them positive things, positive affirmations. You have people that like a coach that gets in their butt and yells at them. There's different
Hmm.
people. Like when it comes to fighting, some people are like, hey, I'm just trying to win a national title and call it a day. There's some people like, I want to take this all the way to here. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I've learned to just, if their path is along my path, I want to help them. If their
Yeah.
path isn't along my path, I want to help them. But
Yeah.
I have a path right here that's gonna, if you follow it, I think it's gonna really help you as an athlete. It's going to help you personally as well. Getting that international experience, taking on all these different people, meeting people from all over the world, meeting connections. Um, yeah.
Absolutely. So from a coach's perspective, like if you take a step back from being the president and all stuff that you know, from a coach's perspective, like what would you say? Obviously, you got to win the tournament, but preparation wise, like to win that and then go to IFMA and do well, like what like how are you coaching that person like the year leading up or whatever it
Mm.
is?
uh, like a kind of just a
Mm-hmm.
uh, faster pace fight. Go out and win the first round of a tournament. That there's a high percentage that of course there's been some that have won that lost the first round, but there's a high percentage of people that win the first round usually win. It's like 70-80% in my from what I've seen. uh I just fast returning, like I do a lot of like give and take drills, 2-for-1 drills. A guy gives you one, you give two, always being ahead of the other one. um Finishing the clinch. Whereas, in traditional Muay Thai, if you're fighting in Thailand, you're going to have a highly skilled referee. IFMA has highly skilled referees, but you got some countries that play by a different game of rules.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell the guys to clinch a little bit different when they're fighting at IFMA. It's going to be a little more aggressive, a little more dirty. Not dirty as in that's a foul, but like pressing the face against the face, your hand against the face, bending the posture. Do not break until you're physically broken. Stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. There's a lot of
You're a little meaner.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just because you're going up against some countries. I've seen it. That they're playing by a different game, different Muay Thai game than what you might be used to back home. So yeah, just scoring the learning the nuances of scoring at IFMA, which you should get Muay Thai scoring. It's on our We got that ebook me and JJ dropped. It's got the basics, all the rules of all the different major Muay Thai formats these days, and it's got strategies and stuff like that for to win. So it's masteringmuaythai.com/ebook, and you can get it.
And I'll have the
JJ's
link in the description of this video as
yeah,
well too.
JJ's worked. One uh, RWS has like a MOU with IFMA. I've gotten to speak with some of the top guys at RWS. Um, Obviously, me and JJ have a ton of IFMA experience and then some
Hmm.
traditional Muay Thai experience. And you know, if you know the rules, it'll make you a better coach. It'll make you a better fighter when you know the scoring better.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I really would like to get him on here too, and in this first batch of things. So
Yeah.
I'll reach out to him, try to lock him in. That's a good segue to the next thing I wanted to talk about, the stadium program. Before we jump over there, that I like that you pointed out that it's a little bit faster. So I think in our area we have we have a lot of gyms that have this like version of Muay Thai that I haven't personally seen really anywhere else other than this area sometimes, that I came up hearing about, where it it's like, oh, you don't fight in the first two rounds really, and this and that, and I'm like, I know that like exists somewhere, and
Mhm.
it's a real thing, but I'm like, our style has always just been a little bit more fast. Obviously we have we have a little bit more boxing in our style as well too. Just work everything. Obviously you got to be good at the clinch, you got to be everything, or just a little bit faster
Mhm.
paced. I think that people are sometimes surprised when they see that the pace of IFMA is not that, like, Sanchai head, like, you're gonna like tap your toe and like
Yeah,
maybe teep back and forth. It's, people are trying to win the round like right away.
yeah, yeah. I think even so, outside of Thailand and even in Thailand, when they do stuff like under WMC, WBC, all the different things, WMO, every round is scored.
Hmm.
And even it says in, the Sports Authority of Thailand that every round is scored, but it's what the athletes do, right? If you go out there and starch somebody in the first round,
Yeah.
put it on them, you're not getting a 10-10 round. So it's not
Right.
like some agreement, but
Yeah.
um, I think, as I said, like everything's moving in different directions. So
Hmm.
whatever, if you're super traditional Muay Thai and you want to follow this or do that, man, the sport's changing. You got to adjust. And if you want to chill the first two rounds, I think you're gonna run across a lot of people that aren't gonna chill the first two rounds.
Yeah.
And I just
We're not.
building this Stadium Pro format. I've watched like 15 shows, like full shows, start to finish at Lumpini and Ratchadamnern Stadium, and believe it or not, there's a lot of people in Thai versus Thai that aren't starting super slow, you know.
Hmm.
So it's just you know, it's that mysticism. There's some of these coaches that have never seen that high level
Yeah.
that, no, we're traditional, we do this. Okay, cool. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, it's awesome,
Yeah.
whatever. But
Yeah.
if you go here, go there, you're gonna have to adjust. I mean, look where, like I said, look at where the major formats are today, and people have had to adjust, and for good or for bad. I personally love 5 round traditional Muay Thai.
Yeah.
I love it. And I've seen some guys that came from there going into one, and they struggled. And I'm like, oh, I hate seeing it, but it's a different
Yeah.
game, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, for sure.
Like some even Americans, I love them, man, but they didn't, they had struggles in it, and they come back to the traditional, and they're doing great. I like, like I see like the counter PK Sanchai they threw in there and like gave him tough fights. I really liked him. They
Yeah.
bringing in I'm gonna butcher this, Lemnon Unlek, that is like the RWS star right now. I love his style. He's super elusive. I saw him fight in Dubai against this really tall Russian. Um, so awesome. But is that going to work at one?
Yeah.
It's very elusive. Is he going to be able to? That's cool. We'll see. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. Everything is about adjustments these days.
Right.
Tournaments, wherever you're going, at the highest level, you're going to have to make adjustments. So if you're stuck in one way, I just don't. The sport's not there anymore. That was where everybody wanted to be 15 years ago.
Right.
I love that era too, though.
Yeah.
I love the stadium title fights, the Raja, Lumpini, the Omnoy, all that stuff. But it's just that's not like the thing right now.
Right.
They didn't even have a sports authority of Thailand like the the fighter of the year award. I think it was like last year or the year before that. They didn't even have. They had to create a different category, fighter of the year, and then like traditional fighter of the year. And I
Mm.
think Tawan Chai, they gave it to him as the fighter of the year, but they didn't have one. I mean, Thailand took a real big hit during COVID, but now I think this year they finally brought back um, a fighter of the year. So
Okay.
just that being said, like the game has changed. You got to
Yeah.
adjust. If you're gonna sit there and
Right.
it's cool, but there's not a lot of avenues to go and chill out. And I don't recommend it anywhere to chill out at first. There's no, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no, trust me, I'm with you. I mean, I for me, just as when I first started fighting, I was just like, well, that's not my fault. I'm gonna come try to win
Mhm.
immediately. So if you're doing that, like you're just helping me out. That was how I always looked at it. But so yeah, it's a perfect segue because I would definitely want to talk, and I don't want to keep you too much longer. I got some rapid fire questions I definitely want to run through too,
Right
but
on.
I did want to talk about Stadium Pro too, because I think that's like an incredibly massive gift you're giving to the sport, honestly. And
Yeah.
I hope more and more people are jumping on there because it's a huge asset for us all to have right now. So if you can break that down just a little bit, like the idea behind it and what you guys are trying to accomplish, you and JJ.
So yeah, we're trying to. I feel um, like you and I don't know if you have a background in basketball, but I bet you know what traveling is and double
Hmm.
dribble is and a free throw is a foul. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you know basketball because a lot of Americans we know basketball
Yep.
and we know the sport. We know we can't just get the ball and run with it. We
Right.
know baseball. Even if you don't watch hardly at all baseball, you know stuff. And I feel like it sounds crazy, but I feel like Muay Thai is a sport that I don't even know how high I want to put the percentage on that a lot of coaches, let's just say, don't know even what the scoring system is for what they're fighting.
Mm.
So everyone has their own set of rules, which is a problem of Muay Thai. I believe there
Yeah.
should be a pro set of rules and an amateur set of rules. Do I think that the pro and amateur rules set by the ABC that we did is like the answer? No, but it's something I guess for the USA.
Yeah. Starting
Um,
point.
but we all know the rules, and that's a problem. Is that I don't think enough people know the rules, and then there's so many, as I was saying earlier about pathways. There's so many different formats now of Muay Thai that it's all not one rule. That
Yeah.
if you do know traditional Muay Thai, that's going to be your best foundation to know one rules, to know RWS rules, to know uh, tournament rules, right?
Right.
So we're trying to help educate people on all these rules because you see it on social media when they post a fight, especially one. They even go one antagonizes people with their own
Yeah.
officials. Like they should be supporting their officials. Like, did they get this right? Like, yeah, they got it
Yeah.
right. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? Like, Rod Tang lost to Superlek. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all
Yeah.
gotta chill. What's wrong with y'all?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like just providing because it's out like one a lot of people didn't know what one's rules were and we give that to you.
Mm.
A lot of people don't know RWS rules. A lot of people don't know IFMA rules. And even when you look at them, a lot of it's like, what is that? Even when you read it, you still don't
Right.
know. So we break it down in there. And then I have purchased a lot of footage from the stadiums. So I have like a, what do you call it? a license for them for like 5 or 6 years, right? Where I have this
Oh,
footage.
wow.
So I'm going to use this footage. Sometimes I put it in the social media. I'm going to use it to build out courses. So to like
Okay.
teach people a lot of stuff like what's the biggest misconception in the sport is a lot of these sweeps, dumps, all this stuff in the clinch that people think are legal just because the ref didn't issue something or but
Yeah.
a lot of them they're not scoring. The judges aren't scoring it. So just like all this stuff bundled into like a video gamified thing is what's coming. We're gonna do some mini courses too, just like all right, here's a little mini course on traditional Muay Thai. Here's a little mini course on this. But the goal is to like have people take a course where it's like gamified, kind of like if you've done like Duolingo, where it's like things pop
Hmm.
up and you get points, and we're gonna have like a leaderboard and all that stuff. So there's that, and then the other thing is a software that we built out. It's like this close to being done.
Okay.
Is you log in and let's say we were watching one fight night, right? And everybody can log in and we could score the fights live
Oh,
and
that's
it'll go
sick.
into your database, into your profile, and
Mm.
then like you can't go back. Like, oh, I was drunk.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
I
right,
was
motherfucker.
I had people over, man. I wasn't even paying attention. Well, you shouldn't have
Yeah,
logged in. But
yeah.
anyway, it's gonna kind of like keep a gamified sense in that, like to see how you score against the actual fight, right? And then we'll pull up classic fights that are controversial and
Mm.
we'll have people score it in their profile so they can see like how they scored it. And like I think that's kind of cool. Is like you kind of have a grasp. It's like, oh, maybe he has trouble with fights that are real clinching based.
Yeah,
It's a way to educate our officials too. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I'm trying to, leave like an education thing behind, like where people can, even if you're not a referee or judge, as a fighter and coach, you probably want to watch some of these fights and score them and see how it is. Because then, hey, it's like Gary gets on one championship. You guys are kind of versed in the scoring, obviously, but there's probably some other guys out there that are clueless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
have um,
No,
just
absolutely.
so that's
It's a
like,
really cool tool. I've gotten to, I came on for the one and then the RWS stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited that you guys are doing it because even me, like I've you know I'll for me I'll never claim like if somebody says do you know how to score, I'll just be like I have a good idea, but for me I always feel like I need to just be open to always learning because there's always like little things that or like you said, like we sometimes I think a lot of us coaches think that we know stuff that ends up not being exactly correct or in certain scenarios or organizations and stuff like that. So I'm just always trying to learn and keep my mind open and stuff like that for sure. And I even to this day, I've always had this method where tournament show whatever, I always go watch as long as we're not the first fight. I always go watch the first couple of fights and just try to see if there's anything um that I'm noticing when they raised the other person's hand that I'm
yeah,
like, okay, I got to make sure that we're on top of that. But this is yeah, it's really exciting. I appreciate you guys are doing it and I'm excited to get more involved in it and stuff too. I think it'd be cool. We should do one of these on a one fight night or something one night and just score
yeah,
live and just try to get a bunch of people. We could invite whoever wants to jump on and then everybody, like you said, everybody got to show their cards a little bit right at the end of the
yeah.
round.
Well, that's the thing too, is that sometimes you have attachments to a fighter and a style, right? And then
Absolutely.
like when
Yeah.
you got to score it and you have 1 minute, you got to turn in your cards. It's a lot different than going back and reviewing the fight after it's already over, right? You have to do it
100%.
in that spur of the moment. So I always find it weird when people that don't judge are giving judging courses. I'm like, bro, you don't even
Yeah,
judge.
that's crazy.
Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot to it when you actually sitting there and you got a timer and you got to turn in your card, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
because there's definitely fights where like live, I'm watching it and I have a number in my head at the end of the round and then go back and it wasn't that way. And then I've gone back and I've like watched it, taken myself out of like what you said, your personal preferences, and I'm like, okay, I see it now. Especially when I've watched stuff like that you and JJ have talked about, where yeah, like we have our what we like to see and feel
Yeah.
like scores more, and then sometimes you go back and look, and even stuff like one of the things that IFMA really helped me out with a lot was the 10-8, 10-9 thing,
Oh
where
yeah.
it's not a guaranteed, like if somebody gets knocked down, it's not which I think is like that's like the highest level of officiating in my opinion, like someone who can see that somebody is like clearly winning the round, gets clipped, popped right back up, and is right back in the fight, and they don't just make it a 10-8 because they're like, oh, he got knocked down, that's 10-8. Like
Yeah.
that's like the highest level of educated officiating, in my opinion. And I know you guys go over that stuff in detail a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
So,
That's a thing I think is only unique to IFMA. It's pretty cool that
yeah,
especially with 3 round fights, you know.
right. That's a
Uh,
big deal. Yeah. Yeah.
that shit, I'm not a big fan of overtime rounds, especially,
Right. Yeah. Who's
you
got
know,
time for that in a tournament and all the other stuff going
yeah,
on?
there's
People
just
got
so
to
much
get
stuff going on. I mean, even as a coach, as an organizer of events, it's it's like if you do a 10-8 though, you're gonna end up having a lot of draws. Uh,
right.
so try to, yeah.
So first, and then for Stadium Pro, like, what's the best way for people to get on board with that?
Just follow our Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
the Stadium Pro, and then we have a school community that we're gonna do our first like mini course coming up, and I think it's gonna be at the end of this month, end of January. It's gonna be on the traditional Muay Thai. Um, the school community is all free right now, so people should jump in there. Then get the ebook masteringmuaythai.com/, ebook. That's free as well. Everything's free game right now. Free, free,
Yeah.
free. So
No, that's
uh,
awesome.
some of the courses down the road aren't going to be free, obviously, but yeah, this jump in there, dude. I mean, you go in there and ask a question, man. Like, uh, it's free. Go in there and ask
Yeah.
a question. So if you guys have any questions over, I'm pretty humble enough to say that I watch one, but I'm not an expert in one scoring. JJ has worked many events. He's working some big ones coming up. The show in Japan, I believe he's working.
Oh, that's
Um,
sick.
he he knows more of that. I'm more of in the traditional IFMA and RWS. I can help, and he's also an expert in that too. So shout out
Right.
JJ. He got to go work the King's Cup in Thailand, and then after that, go work one the next day. I mean, that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, that's about as sick as it gets. Did you watch the one fight night on Friday with the
Yes.
Lineker fight,
Well,
and there
not
was some
not all of
controversy
it.
there?
I watched
You watched Luke and
I watched
and
Luke
Cody's
a
fight?
little bit,
Yeah.
and I saw the fight I maybe saw the whole thing of was the uh that the Brazilian guy that fought um Kulubdan,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and that
Um.
was I mean that was a cool fight.
Yeah.
Uh it's like it's one of those situations where it's like you got a guy that can bang, and then you got a Thai.
Lineker. Yeah, Lineker. That was the one I
Yeah,
meant. Yeah.
and Cool Dem, heavy-handed, but still fights more of a Thai style. Obviously, he's Thai
Right.
fighter. And you got Lineker that just throw his heat, dropped him in the
Yeah.
first round, but then he got kind of schooled the next 2 rounds. Um, yeah, I think
And then
some of it.
Lineker lost, and there's people are saying that was like that, like their controversy about that. And then we actually in our little group chat from the fight team, I was saying how, and I don't know if one does this. So again, that's why I was like, I don't know for sure, and that's why I always try to tell people. I put that caveat. I'm like, Lineker dropped them, but if they're depending on who those officials are, they might have
Yeah.
made it a 10-9 round. So I'm not really sure.
No,
I got
so
to
what I
rewatch
think
that
is
fight.
so what I think is on that situation is that is a 10-8, and let's say that Kulubdam won 10-9, 10-9 in the last those second and third rounds,
Mm-hmm.
then by their criteria, the knockdown is like they have that tiered thing. It goes down as knockdowns and then whatever damage and whatnot. But knockdowns number one, where he would have won. So what I think had happened is that one of the maybe the two of the judges scored the last round of 10-8, which it very well could have been because he got
Yeah. He
destroyed
was
in the last
busting
round.
his ass. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I think happened. And as a judge, that's kind of high level stuff that you would do to make the fight right. If you have like you know what I'm saying? Like, how could you give
Absolutely.
that? I can't give that to Lineker. You just can't.
Right.
He got
Right. Just
completely
for one
schooled.
knockdown.
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
schooled in round two and three. Three
Mm-hmm.
was like completely one way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's cool. Like that, I appreciate that about. Although and this is another reason why I can keep plugging this stadium, bro. I think it's another reason why people should go and get educated too, because there's a lot of people who are, they saw the knockdown and then you're just like, well, that was the
Yeah,
he got a knockdown, so and they're doing that math in their head and like he's supposed to win or whatever it is, and I'm like, but yeah, from just a perspective of like who would you rather be in that fight, I feel like
yeah,
I'd rather be Kulipton for sure.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? And I think that's a good way to kind of have an idea of like who won or not too.
yeah.
All right, let me hit you with a couple of these rapid fire ones and then I'll get you out of here, brother.
Right
Who's
on.
on your Mount Rushmore of Muay Thai?
Oh my goodness.
I know that's a
US
tough
or
one.
like worldwide? Oh man.
How about U.S.? We'll drop it down so that way it's a little less broad.
I mean, there's some like OGs, people out are like that did some really cool stuff, what was his name? Melcher Maynor
Mm-hmm.
was good. You had you know, the the what's I'm drawing a blank right now. F14, the guy from Fairtex that passed, Wong, not no, Alex Gong. My bad.
Alex,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
doing
no,
my brain is all over the place
we
today.
know you know Alex, so for sure, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like my brain is just tired today. I have like the people that like of course I respect,
Right.
um, and they've done great things. I look at like the depth of who they fought. Like if I look at their resume of who they fought,
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of looking at like that, right?
Yeah,
And some of them aren't like uh maybe the most known on social medias and whatnot. And I don't want to take any away from some of the older guys. They were the best
absolutely.
of their time, but there were some guys in this kind of recent era that did, I mean, they fought a lot of great people professionally. And I look at also the era of when they fought,
Yeah,
the competition that they fought. Um, I want to spread it out. I can't put too many, uh, I can't put too many, like, how many heads are on Mount Rushmore?
there's four, but let's say five. Let's
Oh
do
man.
five.
Well, I think everybody from uh I mean everyone from my time in for like 10 years would say Kevin Ross,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. Kevin fought in so many events that people don't even know about
Yeah.
uh, that are amazing. He fought Sagadao at his prime.
Mm-hmm.
He fought obviously Sanchai. He fought a lot of great people. He fought a
Yeah.
guy that was like in Cambodia, and beat him. What was it Ed Patong or it was his brother?
Yeah.
I was living in Thailand at that time, and no, it got no press because it was in Cambodia, and he beat like one of the biggest stars of Cambodia. All this stuff, man. I saw him, and I would say obviously Kevin. He fought so many people.
Yeah.
I mean, like the depth chart of who he fought. Another guy, I mean, he's still going. I'd have to put Topic up there
Absolutely. Yeah.
because
It's a good one.
a stadium champion, won the Omnoy belt. He's fought so many big names as well. I'd have to. Jaleel is chipping away at the Mount
Yeah.
Rushmore.
Yeah.
He could
He's
be up
getting
there.
his
He's
face
not
cleared
there,
out. Yeah.
but he's really good. Yeah, they're getting his face. Obviously, probably have to go Tiffany. If
Mm,
the put a Tiffany Van Soest up there.
that's a great one.
Um, I mean, there's a lot of guys like Joe Schilling, Kai Hollenbeck,
Yep.
Chaz. They can have
Chaz,
their own
Rami.
mountain.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't want to put everyone on this. They're pretty good. I
Yeah.
probably put a lot of people don't know Cyrus when he was in his prime had a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
He fought in kickboxing, fought in Muay Thai, fought in
Left
Lethwei.
way. Yeah. He's a gangster.
I'd probably have him up there. I mean, I'd say Aaron Ortiz is still fighting. I mean, people don't know what he's done. He's gonna, I mean, let's just say this. If I could do this, like, I can't give all of them. There's a lot of great people. I'm probably forgetting some right off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
um, obviously Janet Todd, I'd probably have her up there and
100%.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is that what I want to do when if I'm not president is I really want to do a proper USA Hall of Fame for Muay Thai.
Yes. Hell yeah.
And I don't want to be in with different martial arts. I know there's some people in California that do it and respect to them. At least they got it going, but it's not representative of the whole country.
Hmm.
Like all of the best shows of the year are in their area. All the best fighters of the year in that area. And they're not
Yeah.
like
Which is
taking
not the case.
consideration.
All due respect. Yeah.
Like, but they're doing it. I respect them for doing it. That's a great thing to get it started. But I want to do something that represents all the U.S. athletes. There's nothing for these guys in a sport that doesn't get much recognition. I want to do that's something like my last thing in Muay Thai. Like you were an athlete, coach, blah blah blah, president. My last thing is I want to do is do a Hall of Fame proper.
Hmm.
Like all these guys should be recognized, and guys and girls should be recognized, and that would be my last thing for Muay Thai. After that, I just want to be an old grumpy coach at
Yeah.
a gym.
Yeah, no, that would be cool. And we talked a little briefly, and we talked, off of here about that the documentary I'm trying to put together, which I'm still like really locked in, and kind of been kind of hoping to use this to get the platform opened up for it and talk to some of the people from that era. And yeah, I would love to do something like that. As well and be involved in that in any way. So when you get that
Yeah, I
going, let me
mean,
know.
yeah,
I would love to
definitely have to
be a
have
part.
a committee. Of course, I'm gonna just put in a bunch of people. I mean, there's like OGs, man. There's some guys that were like the first guys to bring people over to Thailand. Yeah, like I would be like I have a pioneer wing for people like that. I would have
Absolutely.
for coaches. There would be guys that who cares what they did as a fighter, but they're excellent coaches,
Hmm.
fighters, all these different things. Like people need to in a time when nobody researches or does anything, like this stuff needs to be uh documented, in my opinion. It'd be
Absolutely.
really cool.
No, I think that would be
Like
awesome.
I can tell you right now, sadly, nobody in my about if I have 200 people at my gym, I would say like 10 or 15 know who a lot of these names were I just named, and that's
Right.
sad. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I even even like I said, like I'm telling my guys about just like and this is part of the like just like the first half of my level up, like getting to watch uh like Lion Fight take off, and we had this platform for a little while where like it was an obtainable thing in the States. Like it but you had at first like you really had to be the shit. Like you had to be like you had to be a Kevin, a Joe Schilling, a Romy, sorry. And
Rami too.
Rami shit. Yeah. Like you had to be like those kind of fighters to be on that show, and they were bringing people in from around the world to fight, and it was like holy shit, like to hopefully we get to be a part of that one day. And then Glory came in, and even though it was kickboxing, like it was cool to just like it was cool to see there be like a place where these people that were like our heroes in the community like get a place to like really shine and hopefully get paid a little bit
Yeah,
too.
that was a
And that was
cool
just
little
a really
time. I
exciting
liked it.
time,
Yeah.
man. Like just that like 2011-ish to like 2017, and then things, Glory kind of started pulling out, Lion Fight kind of fell apart, and then we were left a little bit with not we didn't have those shows, and then obviously one rose up, and now that's everyone's, um, that's everyone's like, you know, but pot of gold, I think now. But yeah, it was just a cool time. You could go, like, we could drive up to the Foxwoods. I had people on the amateur undercard of the first East Coast show. Like, it was just like it was a really exciting time. The Can't Stop Crazy was going on. Like, there was a lot of love for the game at that time, and people were supporting each other. Like, I remember before I even knew who Janet was, like, um, donating money to her GoFundMe for one of the IFMA things or something like that. There was a really special vibe during that era where everyone was just excited about what was going on in the sport, and I think it would be cool to have a documentary for the people that missed it to see, and hopefully it maybe inspires some of that to come back a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I just feel like some people they go off and don't feel like, they're not doing they're not teaching anywhere anymore, or they're not doing seminars, and but they got to be recognized, man. I can't let
100%.
a lot of these people motivated, inspired me, and so I feel like it's got to be passed on. So yeah, that is let's hold each other to it. Let's get something started.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's one of the other things I'm planning to do with this too is I'm gonna crank out a bunch of like little short videos and stuff like that as well. So I'll holler at you about that stuff. But I don't want to keep you much. I could talk to you all day, man. I really do appreciate
I
your
appreciate
time.
it,
I was
man.
really excited to bring this back and have you be the first person on. So thank you. And
Yeah.
if you got anything before we head out, man,
Oh
go
yeah,
for it.
just one real quick. Hey, thank you everybody for support. Just keep everything going and growing, man. We got guys, USA. Don't I'm saying USA Muay Thai as everyone, not as my just organization, as everyone. Everyone, it's an exciting time. You got guys in one, got guys in RWS, we got guys fighting in the stadiums in Thailand. How crazy is that, right? We got
It's
people fighting
amazing.
for world titles all over the world. It's a cool time, stay motivated, keep on it. This era too will end, and we got to have another era come up after that. We got the nationals coming up March 13th through 16th. We're gonna have Tanong Pumpanic from Lumpini Stadium come again.
Oh
How cool
shit.
is that? We're gonna have the head of the
Yeah.
stadium come and oversee your fights. So how cool is that? And we'll probably have some. We're gonna have like a la carte courses this year instead of like having a whole judge and referee thing. We're gonna have stuff that's like Q&A with the master. We're gonna have like sweeps, dumps, and clinch breakdown course, all these different little mini courses. We got Kids World Championships this year in Abu Dhabi, Adult World Championships in Turkey, and then in August of this year in China is the World Games again every 4 years. And you're asking yourself, I thought World Games in 2022. It was, but we had a COVID year, so it messed up
Right.
the year.
Right,
So
right, right.
now they're back on track, and World Games every 4 years this year. We qualified three from USA. So Megan Washam, Tierra Brandt, and Aaron Ortiz. That'll be cool. They're going to be fighting for the World Games in China in August. I think it's like August 8th through 11th, something like that. So a lot of cool stuff coming up. Just man, thank you all for the support, USA Muay Thai. Hey, let's keep it growing. Go get your experience. All you athletes fighting 1 or 2 times a year, waiting for that big call. It ain't gonna come. You gotta get
Right.
out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta get
You
out
got to
there
go
and
out there
fight,
and
man.
take it.
Get out there and show everybody that you're the one, and you got my support, man. Let's go.
Hell yeah. You're the man, boss man. Well, I'll see you soon. And thanks again. I really appreciate you.
Thank you all. Thank
All right,
you.
my brother.
All right. Peace.
Peace.